Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and it's time to get wealthy. You're going to finally learn exactly what you need to do to achieve the level of financial success that you desire and you deserve. Have you ever heard that your network determines your net worth? Well, it's certainly true. And if you've ever heard the quote by Nipsey Hussle, who says that if you look in your circle and you're not inspired, you're not in a circle, you're in a cage. And perhaps that's why so many African Americans and women are taking up the sport of golf. And the sport of golf, because it is said to be the sport of business. And that's exactly the conversation we're going to have today. So here's what they don't want you to know about what it will take to achieve financial success. First, it's not what you know, it's who knows you. And then secondly, the other thing is that your network really does determine your net worth. And finally, that success is a contact sport. And that's why I'm so excited to be having the conversation that we're going to have today. And that's with someone who basically took her fun golf outings with friends and turned it into a full-fledged event planning company that takes people all around the world on business and golf trips. She also wrote the book, Golf, the Sport of Business. And I'm excited to welcome Jandy Turner, CEO of Acuity Events, on to Wealthy You. So Jandy Turner, welcome to Get Wealthy.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, I know how excited you are about the sport of golf, if you will. You've written a book, but before we get into that conversation, I want you to just share with our audience just a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I'm Jandy Turner, born and raised in Baltimore. I grew up playing softball and basketball. Those were my sports of choice. You could not tell me that I was not going to be one of the first women's professional basketball players. However, one small problem, the WNBA didn't exist when it was my time to do that. So long story short, I went to the University of Virginia. I played engineering instead of basketball and built a career in management consulting following graduation until the entrepreneurial bug hit me.
Well, you know, it's interesting. You talk about the entrepreneurial bug, and I certainly alluded to in your introduction just about, I mean, you were playing basketball and softball. So talk to us a little bit about how you ventured into this sport of golf.
Right. Well, I just love sports. And coincidentally, I never grew up playing golf. There was a golf course, maybe 15 or 20 minutes from my house, and we drove through it. I didn't know anything about it. It looked pretty. But one Saturday afternoon, my husband is a golfer, and he was watching the LPGA, the women play on TV. And they were playing something called the skins match. And basically in a skins match, if you win the hole, you win a pot of money. So the women were playing and they were winning money for their charities. So if you win this hole, you get $10,000. You win the next one, you get $10,000. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is gambling and sports. Where do I sign up? So I said to my husband, hey, that looks easy. I'm an athlete. Can you teach me how to play? Well, my God, golf is the hardest sport I have ever attempted to learn how to play. And almost it seems like it's a sport that I had to learn how to play versus other sports sort of came naturally growing up. So he endeavored, if you will, to teach me how to play. It was an endeavor of love. I was really nervous on the course. I didn't want to play with other people. When we got to the course, I would be like, okay, let that group go ahead of us. Let that group go ahead of us. And he said, you can't do that. There's always going to be a group coming. So finally, I got paired up with him and these two other guys, and I was mortified. And, the guys hit the ball, goes left. Next guy hits the ball, goes left. I hit the ball, doesn't go that far, but I was like, oh my gosh, maybe I'm not as bad as I think I am, or maybe I may be as bad as everyone else. So from there, I said, I dedicated myself to learning the game and being a better player.
Well, the reason why I wanted to have this conversation with you today is one of the things that you recognized as you became more involved in the sport is that the other benefits to golf, and then went on to write this book. So when we come back, what I want to talk to you about and help you explain to our audience why golf is much more than just a game, and tie it to this whole conversation around how you can build your network through the game of golf. So folks, we're going to have a great conversation. Lean in, because if you want to know the real secret to building a network that can have an impact on your ability to be financially successful, you're going to want to hear this conversation. So don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back.
Let's be honest, as successful women, we're crushing it. Maxed out 401k and Roth IRA? Check. Aggressive savings and investments? Check. Yet, the freedom our success was supposed to buy can leave us stuck on the six-figure hamster wheel, watching retirement slip further down the road. There's another way. Get coaching courses and community at wealthyu.com.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Deborah Owens, host of Get Wealthy, and I'm excited to be having a conversation really about the game, the game and the sport of golf, and really help everyone who's watching understand why it is much more than just a game. And my guest today to have this conversation with is Jandy Turner. She's CEO of Acuity Events, an event planning firm that hosts corporate events around the world. And she's also the author of Golf, the Sport of Business. And so, Jandy, thank you so much for coming on, having this conversation, because I think it's important for folks to understand that oftentimes it's not what we know, it's who we know and who knows us. And certainly what you've learned, and one of the reasons that you wrote the book is to really help expose people to the sport. However, the way I want to kind of enter into this aspect of the conversation is, come on now, golf, it's often seen as inaccessible, expensive, and not necessarily a Black sport. And so what would you say to that, sort of perspective that many of our viewers in our audience might have about the game of golf?
First, I would say it's our time. If not now, when? But let me take you back a little bit, about 20 years ago, before I was in the golf industry, before I could really play the game. One Memorial Day, I got together 16 women because we did not have to go to work. All of us had dabbling interests in golf, very primitive, if you will. I was able to, through my network, connect with my friends who work for Marriott. And I said, hey, I'm having a golf tournament for 16 women. I need some prizes. Can you donate some overnight stays? Bam, done. I had another friend that worked for Bank of America. We need some swag. Can you clean out the corporate closet, if you will? She found golf balls, tees, towels. So through my network, number one, I was able to feebly put on my first golf tournament for 16 women. And the most interesting thing about that was they came, they played, and they did not want to leave, because after the round of golf, after prizes were given out, they sat there in that clubhouse and talked and networked and learned more about each other. I was done. It was a great event. At the end of the event, they said, when is your next event? I didn't have a next event. I hastily put one together, 4th of July weekend. Men came, women came, and the result was the same. The golf was one thing, but after golf, they stayed, they networked, they got to know one another. So that was sort of one eye-opening to me. Golf was one thing, but look at how these people are connected. And again, through my affiliation with golf, people came to me and asked, what's on the agenda for golf next year? What events do you have lined up? Do you have any travel lined up for golf? I didn't have anything, but I knew it was something about this sport that was pulling me into it. So I decided to research, and I did a full-blown business school industry analysis of the golf industry. And I found out that golf was pretty flatline. It wasn't growing, but there were segments that were growing: women, minorities, and juniors. And the other thing that I found out in my research was that golf was all about networking and corporate partnerships and corporate sponsorships. So for everywhere the PGA goes and hosts one of its tournaments, they have some charitable component where they are making a contribution to that community. But how do they make that contribution to that community? From business partnerships, from networking. So again, 20 years ago, my ears and eyes were opening up that this was larger than a sport. So over time, I settled on developing a golf event planning business, which in and of itself has been very, very viable for me. But one of the things that I've learned from producing hundreds, and I've never counted, hundreds, if not thousands of golf tournaments, is that business gets done on the golf course, that the conversations are a bit different, that the relationships are a bit more authentic. So when you think about your network, who plays golf? For me, it's the people I want in my network. When you think about, it's not for Black women, it's not for, Blacks or what have you, it's our time. I'm in a golf club that has been around since 1938, a Black women's golf club. So we've been there. We're waiting for everyone else to come to the table to see what's there and to see what's available.
Oh, I think, and the reason I wanted to bring you on to talk about your discovery, right, of golf, but really coming to understand that it's more than a game, right? It's more than a game. And what it allows you to do is really expand your circle. And so in Get Wealthy, in our show, we use a framework: mindset, strategy, execution, which really leads to financial success. And I would say it could be applied to, you certainly exemplify that, because you went through this journey of discovering golf and now it turning into a full-fledged business. But I'm sure there are a lot of viewers who are thinking, well, Jandy, that sounds great, but I don't even know how to get started. So when we come back, I want to talk about the mindset that anyone who wants to understand the significance of golf and its ability to expand your network and how they can get started when we come back. So don't go anywhere. We're talking about golf, the sport of business, and how you can use it to not only network, but also to increase your network. I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and we'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. And right now we're accepting investors in our $17 million round to revolutionize the future of social media. Today, for just $399, you can own 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $665 a share. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. While the big platforms have grown too massive and disconnected from their users, Fanbase is building a platform where creators and users truly come first. We've already raised $8.6 million from everyday investors who believe in this vision, and now you can join them. This is your chance to invest in a social media tech company with over 1 million users that is disrupting media by allowing anyone to reach all of their following and monetize their content from day one. The market is changing, big platforms are failing to serve their users, and Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now. Invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the future of social media.
I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and thank you for joining and listening to Get Wealthy this today. And we're having a great conversation with Jandy Turner. She is CEO of Acuity Events, an event and a planning firm, and we're talking about the game of golf. So Jandy, here's what I want to start with, because I think, my husband is a golfer and I've known you for years and kind of seen how your business has expanded. To your point, golf is expanding. I've got one question for you. Do you feel like the kind of success that Tiger Woods being Black brought to the sport also has increased people's awareness of the game as well, and maybe desire to perhaps want to learn?
Absolutely. Tiger Woods has been a true accelerant for the sport of golf. Golf is golf. It's been around. People quietly play golf, if you will. When Tiger Woods came on the scene as a young kid almost, and basically we got to the point where he was successful so early on in his career, everybody took notice. Existing golfers, non-golfers, women, children, everybody. So what he has done and continues to do for the sport is nothing short of phenomenal. The Masters is coming up. Yes, they would have had decent ratings on TV, but by Tiger saying that he is going to participate in the Masters, everybody will have an ear or an eye tuned into the Masters this weekend to see him.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because even though he has not been playing, my husband's an avid watcher of the Golf Channel. It is just amazing the amount of programming that they've built around him, even though he's not playing. And so I want to talk to you a little bit about, if you were someone watching this program, what is the mindset that you need to bring to the game so you can overcome perhaps some of the apprehension that you may have about the golf not necessarily being something that you can acquire, play, and expand your network with?
Sure. I'll talk about a couple of things. A lot of people say, I don't know anyone who plays golf. Well, let me throw a few statistics out there. There are 25 million golfers in the US. 6 million more golfers started playing during the pandemic. But here's a statistic I like. There are 6 million women playing the game, and 73% of female professionals who play say that golf benefits them in business. So again, there are people out there. You just need to find them. Some people will say, oh, I'm not interested in playing golf. Okay, you might not be, but your colleagues are, your customers are, your suppliers are. If you don't want to or don't have the physical ability to play golf, there's still opportunity to be in and around the game. For example, we talk about the Masters golf tournament. If you are in business and you have been trying to get a call with a particular client and they're not returning your call, I guarantee you, if they are a golfer and you ask them to come and play a round of golf, they'll start listening for your call and take your call. Similarly, if they're not a golfer, but you invite them to something different, a professional golf tournament, doesn't have to be the Masters. The tickets are a little hard to get. It's a lottery system. However, there are professional golf events around the country, and attending a golf event by yourself with a client, with a spouse, is a different experience. It's not like 60,000 fans screaming in Raven Stadium. It is an opportunity to, one, see the beauty of the golf course and walk the course with the golfers. So there will be people following Tiger Woods all around or their favorite golfer. It's also an opportunity to sit in a chalet over one of the signature holes and sip on wine and have decent, quiet conversation with a potential client, prospect, if you will. So again, a lot of people say, oh, I don't play. I don't know anybody who plays. Well, people are playing and people are around the game. Some of us say we don't have time. Well, time, we make time for what we want to do. We binge watch on TV. We watch series every week. So I'm not, I don't buy that one. And then other people say, what do I suck? What do I do if I suck at golf? I'm not athletic. Well, one, I encourage everyone to take lessons and learn the game. But most importantly, the thing I want to get across is you do not have to be Tiger Woods to play and enjoy some of the benefits in the game and build your network. You have to learn the rules. You have to learn the game, take a series of lessons and practice, but you don't have to be this diehard golfer. Only about 90% of the golfers, but now let me flip it. Only about 10% of the people who play golf break 100. That means score less than 100. So there's 90% of the people out there playing golf who have high scores, scoring over 100. Most people don't know that. You have to be decent, but you don't have to be great. And it's something about once you take lessons, you practice, and you get out there on that golf course, you kind of fall in love with the sport. You fall in love with the opportunity to network and converse with people during your round of golf. It is just a wonderful opportunity to be in a different circle, in a different network. And there are plenty of charitable golf tournaments out there that you can join. There are clubs and leagues that you can join. The opportunities are immense. It's just a matter of making that commitment to yourself, getting your mind right that this is something that I can do. This is something that I want to do. And here's my roadmap or my plan for doing it.
Well, Jandy, the other aspect of this, and what I want folks to understand, is many times you are in a career and you are in organizations. And one of the points that I made earlier is it's not who you know, it's who knows you. And so when you're in these careers and your company is participating in an event, or, perhaps you're going away for some kind of leadership conference, and typically there is some kind of outing for getting to know people, and oftentimes it happens to be golf. And what would you say to people who are in these roles, don't feel like that's something that they need to take part in? What would you say to them about how participating in these events can really impact their career either positively or negatively?
Right. So I would say that you need to be in the conversation. And if you're not in the conversation, your name needs to be in the conversation. And I'll give you a case in point. If you work in an organization, your boss two levels up is a golfer, 9 times out of 10, there will be plenty of business opportunities to represent that organization in a charity golf tournament or to attend a golf tournament. And if your name pops up on that list as a golfer, it's fantastic. Otherwise, on Friday afternoon, you're sitting at your desk, and those who do play golf are out playing golf, building relationships with the boss or their peers, and having their name in the conversation. So I would say it is a career accelerant if someone knows that you play golf, especially if you're in a culture that does recognize golf, recognize the benefits of golf. And think about it, if you are one of the only, that sets you up very nicely for that. So I would just encourage you to look around your environment, look at people. Sometimes you don't even know that people play golf, but there are telltale signs. The hat they may wear on a casual day might be a golf brand or something like that. But it's most important not to be left at the desk or when there is a corporate retreat. And I produce these all the time. I produce golf and spa retreats. And invariably, the women head to the spa, the men head over to the golf course. And there are 1 or 2 women that go to the golf course. Trust me, they stand out. Their name is in the conversation, and they get recognized. So again, you want your name and yourself to be in the conversation.
Yes, and that's a great example, right? Of it's not who you know, but it's who knows you. And so one of the ways that you can really stand out and people get to know who you are is by you participating in those events that the majority of other folks aren't. So no, I'm loving this conversation. And when we come back, Jandy, I really want you to talk about strategy. Okay. So I want you to actually give our audience okay, I'm watching Get Wealthy. I hear what she's saying. Now what are my next steps? So when we come back, folks, we're going to talk about a strategy for you really getting into the game of golf and not being so concerned with not doing well at it or not being a good golfer, but you begin to understand how it's more than golf. It's about really expanding your network. So don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back. I'm Deborah Owens, and you're watching Get Wealthy. And we're talking about how you can use golf as that bridge to expanding your network, because your network determines your net worth. And I'm having a conversation with CEO of Acuity Events, Jandy Turner, who actually took her interest in golf, parlayed it into a full-fledged event planning firm. So Jandy, let's talk a little bit about, I'm listening to Deborah talking about how I can get wealthy through the game of golf, and I don't even know the first thing about where to start. So if I'm watching this program, let's talk about strategy. What is, the top 3 things that you need to do to just get your golf game on?
Great. So again, mindset, we've arrived. We know that we want to play golf. The next thing you need to do is think about taking lessons. Some people are intimidated by it. If you are, take a girlfriend, take a friend. But I would go to a local golf course. You can look online, or sometimes park and recs departments have courses, and you want to take a beginner series of lessons. I would say 5 lessons. I don't know off the top of my head. Every course is different. Probably won't cost you more than $150 to $250 to take a series of 5 lessons. Okay. So you go to the golf course, you find out when the next set of classes every Tuesday at 6 p.m. starts. Please don't run out and go buy golf clubs and golf outfits and all of that stuff. Why? Number one, we're talking about getting wealthy. I want to make sure you stick to the sport. So you can say to the instructor, I don't have clubs yet. I'm just getting into the game. Do you have clubs that I could borrow during the lessons? Okay. So you and your best friend, you're taking lessons. You sign up for every Tuesday and you get your first lesson, and it is a lesson on putting. I think most of us are familiar with putt-putt or miniature golf, somewhat similar to that. The most important thing after you take that lesson is practicing. What I don't want you to do is show up for next week's lesson and you haven't practiced. It's just like going back to school where, you learn something in school, you need to do a homework assignment or apply that knowledge before you move on to the next lesson. Again, not much. If you do an hour putting lesson, do an hour practice at the local golf course. And so that piece around the lessons and practice is important. Also, you want to learn the rules. Good golfers don't mind playing with bad golfers or not so good golfers, but they do mind playing with people who are slow and people who don't know the rules. So there's an app nowadays, the USGA, United States Golf Association, I believe, has an app with all of the rules. It's a little over 30 rules. Read the app in the back. Read one rule a day, right? Learn one rule a day or 2 rules a day. So now you know the rules. And then there's a bit of etiquette that goes with the golf. It's not necessarily a rule, but it's etiquette about how you present yourself, how you dress. You can't wear jeans on a golf course and things like that. There are rules and etiquette that you will learn, and any golfer will share that with you. But it's just most important that you take that step to take lessons. For those of you who are interested in using golf as a business tool, I've written a book. I even have a course under golfthesportofbusiness.com where I walk you through everything that you could possibly anticipate in business golf. And how do you prepare? How do you invite somebody to play business golf? What are the signals to say who's paying? Whether you're paying or whether someone else is paying, or how to ask that awkward question. All of that is in my course at golfthesportofbusiness.com. So again, it's 2 sides to it. It's the physical learning of the sport, but it's also educating yourself. And then lastly, all golfers will say, if you don't look good, you probably can't play good. Then if we are committed and we want to play, only then do I think it's time to invest in a set of clubs. And you might want to invest in a set of used clubs. There are play it again sports places. There are plenty of yard sales where people thought they were going to play golf and they're not playing golf. I would just rely on your golf instructor to help you figure out, what would be a decent set of clubs for you. And then the clothes. A lot of people go overboard. You don't have to. You just need to conform to the rules and etiquette. And for ladies, that's a pair of slacks or a skirt or a skirt or capri pants. You just don't want to wear shorty shorts and things like that. No tank tops on the golf course. Pretty much a collared shirt, polo shirt, as we grew up calling them. And you want to dress appropriately, and you will eventually need golf shoes. Do I recommend going out first time and buying them? No, usually a pair of sneakers will do until you are sure you are committed to the game.
Well, what I love about you and why I wanted you to give people sort of a sense of how you might approach it, I do think that once you take all the steps that you just described, that you want to now, what do you do to, feel like you belong? Do you join a local? Do you join a league? Do you go to a public course? How do you find how to kind of create that place that you can go and that you can bring others if you want to use the sport of golf to actually network as well?
Right. Fantastic questions. There are many opportunities to do that. There is an opportunity to join leagues. Every golf course has a league almost every day of the week. There are women's leagues, there are men's leagues, there are co-ed leagues, there are 9-hole leagues, there are 18-hole leagues, there are traveling leagues. So a league is a good way to establish repetition in addition to meet people. So for example, if you sign up for the ladies 9-hole league at your local course, and every Wednesday you're showing up to play golf with a group of 15 or 20 women, and usually they mix up the group. So again, you are networking and playing with other women. You're also establishing that repetition and reinforcing what you learned in your lessons. So you're taking those lessons and putting them into action. Now, there are other ways to do it. If you have a friend who plays golf, is an experienced golfer, you don't necessarily want your friend teaching you how to play. We want to leave that to the golf professionals, because it's very easy to develop bad habits, and you have enough going on trying to learn the game. But you want your friend to play with you, right? If your friend plays on a weekly basis, hey, I'm just starting to play, I don't play really that well, can we go out late Sunday afternoon and play golf and, hit the ball around and that sort of thing. And then in a corporate environment, I work with corporations all the time who do golf. They hire me to do golf education workshops as well as golf clinics for their female employees or their young employees just coming in out of college. So you may want to check with your employer to see if they have anything going on around golf. And there are, again, in addition to leagues, numerous groups throughout the country who are all about exposing women to golf. The LPGA has an amateur group that's all about exposing women to golf, and they have chapters all over the city. There is Black Girls Golf, Black Diamonds Golf. There are tons of organizations out there. A quick social media search on golf and Black women and that sort of thing will yield it. If not, reach out to me. I will get you connected depending on where you live. But you just have to ask, and you can play with anyone. There are golfers love other golfers. If you play golf, that puts your relationship at a different level with people. So it's just a matter of opening yourself out, going to the local golf course, and sometimes you can just hang out there and you see people, meet people, and talk to people.
You really, I believe, so if you're watching, Jandy has really given you kind of a roadmap into now how you actually go about getting involved in the game of golf. She's given us some perspective on it being more than just a game and more than just playing, but you need to do your homework, right? You need to make sure you understand the rules so that when you do start playing with other people, you can do so with confidence. So when we come back, however, what I want Jandy to touch on really is that the fact that golf is more than just a game, and what are some of the things that you can learn by networking through golf. So don't go anywhere, folks. We're talking about how your network is your net worth and how to expand it using the game of golf. We'll be right back.
What's up, y'all? Look, Fanbase is more than a platform. It's a movement to empower creators, offering a unique opportunity for everyday people to invest in Black-owned tech, infrastructure, and help shape the future of social media. Investing in technology is essential for creating long-term wealth and influence in the digital age. The Black community must not only consume tech, we must own it.
Discover how equity crowdfunding can serve as a powerful tool for funding Black businesses, allowing entrepreneurs to raise capital directly through their community through the Jobs Act.
But we begin tonight with the people who are really running the country right now.
Now, Trump is often wrong and misleading about a lot of things, but especially about history.
Donald Trump falling in line with President Elon Musk.
In the wake of the unsettling news that MSNBC has canceled Joy Ann Reid's primetime show, The Readout, Roland Martin and the Black Star Network would like to extend an invitation to all of the fans of Joy and Reid's MSNBC show to join us every night to watch Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming on the Black Star Network for news, discussion of the issues that matter to you, and the latest updates on the twice impeached, criminally convicted felon-in-chief Donald Trump and his unprecedented assault on democracy, as well as co-president Elon Musk's takeover of the federal government. The Black Star Network stands with Joy and Reid and all folks who understand the power of Black voices in media. We must come together and never forget that information is power. Be sure to watch Roland Martin Unfiltered weeknights, 6 p.m. Eastern at youtube.com/Roland S. Martin or download the Black Star Network app.
I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and we're getting wealthy, through the game of golf. And my guest today is Jandy Turner. She's CEO of Acuity Events and also author of Golf, the Sport of Business. And Jandy, thank you so much for kind of giving us a roadmap, really helping our audience understand how they can get over maybe some of their apprehensions around golf and actually how they can get started. But I really want to now delve into, Jandy, what our audience can really, how they can gain more perspective and what you can learn. I remember a conversation that I had with you, and you really talked about how playing with people, the kinds of insights that you can gain by playing with people. And so talk to us a little bit about how that perspective and what you can learn.
Yeah. What an opportunity to build relationships, business relationships, relationships with your kids or your grandkids, but let's focus on the business relationships. It's better than a lunch appointment. Let's face it, if you invite me to lunch for business, I'm going to be on my best behavior for that hour, right? But golf, it is a 5-hour meeting in a relaxed, beautiful setting with minimal distractions. It's almost bad etiquette to have your cell phone going off while you're on the golf course. So again, you and your playing partner or partners can communicate with each other and talk just you with minimal distractions. But let's talk about what happens out there on the golf course. On the golf course, you are going to see the good, the bad, and the ugly. You're going to see me hit great shots. You're going to see me hit horrible shots, and you're going to see me hit downright ugly shots. But what matters and what you can infer from seeing that is how I handle. How do I handle that? How do I handle it when I hit a great shot? Am I bragging and strutting my stuff? What happens when I hit a bad shot? How do I handle that? What happens when I hit an ugly shot? Do I throw my clubs in the water? While you're on the golf course with somebody, it is an opportunity to read that person and also be read by that person. It's an opportunity to establish instant common ground. Again, if you are a golfer and you spend that time with somebody, that common ground is a commodity worth its weight in gold. And the thing that people don't realize is that physically it takes 1.4 seconds to swing the golf club. Again, back through 1.4 seconds. Let's say we hit the golf club 100 times. That's only a few minutes that we're actually playing golf. What are we doing the other time? We're bonding. We're getting to know each other. You're building trust and rapport with the person that you're there. If you're there for business development, you can learn about what that person's needs are so that later on you can sell to them. So when you see people on the golf course, again, you can read them and trust they will be reading you. Are you confident? Do you take risk, or are you risk averse? No right and no wrong answer, just observations. Are you a team player, or do you drive off with the cart and leave your playing partner there? Are you selfish? How do you handle challenging situations? How do you deal with things that don't go well? Do you make excuses, or do you take responsibility for it? Again, if you show up late, what does that mean? So if I were entering into a business partnership with somebody, I would take them out on the golf course. Perhaps even if you were entering into a marriage or a relationship, because how people show up on the golf course is 9 times out of 10 how they show up in life.
Well, the reason why I wanted to have a conversation about this is because you're really talking about the psychology of golf, right? And I think, and human behavior, and we really are talking about relationships and expanding your network. And so in just listening to you, one of my thought really was, I'm sure people would like to know, what is proper etiquette around the kinds of conversations that you might want to have? Like if you invited somebody out and it was certainly a business, a contact, do you want to talk business while you're doing golf? What is appropriate?
Right. So you don't want to jump in the cart and on the first of 18 holes say, so, it would cost us, $17,000 to do this. Are you interested? That's a big no-no. You don't want to do that, right? What you want to do is get inside the mind of your prospect. You want to know what keeps them up at night. You want to know what problems they are trying to solve that you could possibly address with your products and solutions. So I use the golf course for needs identification, rapport building, and understanding and getting to know that person. You want to hear about their kids or their grandkids or what have you. Because if that's what's important to them, they're going to talk to you about that. So I think you keep it light. You're learning, you're sharing, you're taking mental notes. Typically, after a round of golf, most people go back to the clubhouse. We call it the 19th hole, and people have a drink or meal or what have you. You want to, again, be reading your prospect and know that now is the time to talk about that. They're in a good mental space. Or I need to take everything that I've learned today and follow up in an email or conversation next week. And by the way, I've snapped a picture of us on the golf course. Certainly as a part of my follow-up, I'm going to send a picture to them of us on the golf course to imprint that relationship in their mind.
Oh, Jandy, this was fantastic, because now you just gave our folks some insight on actually how to execute the strategy, build your network, integrate it into the work that you do. And so here are the 3 things, the 3 takeaways from today's show that I want all of you to know. The first thing you should have learned is that mindset, golf, it's more than just a game, and you need to approach it in that way. And if you have any apprehension, really understand that you don't have to be fearful, because very few people, I think the biggest thing was like only 1 out of 10 people are really, really great and do and score less than 100. And then second, one of the ways that you can really overcome some of that apprehension is really understanding the game, learning the rules of play and etiquette. She gave out some great tips for that. And then the whole point of it is execution is the point of it is to expand your circle and leverage your network. And so Jandy, I just want to thank you for coming on Get Wealthy and really sharing with our audience how they can get in the game and learn the golf, the sport of business. And if you could just leave us with maybe a closing word of wisdom for today.
I would just say that, one, thank you for having me. It's always a great opportunity for me to talk about golf, my passion. And if I can ever help anyone turn their passion into profits, I'm here to do that. But again, I would just say, get your mind right, get your strategy right, and go execute.
Love it. Love it. Thank you so much, Jandy Turner, for coming on Get Wealthy. Keep watching, folks. I hope that you go and apply what you have learned today. Because remember, your network is your net worth. That's going to do it for me on this episode of Get Wealthy. Tell your friends and keep watching because we have more to come.